Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of fantasy romance and romantic fantasy. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Yum. As you can see if you're on video, I am back in my happy grape arbor, my happy place. Good to be home. Um, yeah. So it was a good trip. I'm going to have to move this a little closer, I see. Excuse the scrapey noises. Uh, I did not get a podcast done yesterday. I did text my mother and disappoint her and tell her I just couldn't squeeze it in. Uh, so it goes sometimes. It's hard when you're working with other people's schedules and like sharing a hotel room with your husband. And I was going to go out on the balcony of the hotel room and use that to record the podcast again. I don't know why I've got itchies on my face this morning. And they were out there doing boatloads of lawn maintenance. And so it was very loud. Weed whackers and riding mowers and all this kind of thing. So it was interesting being down at Inn of the Mountain Gods again. We had been there last for our anniversary at the end of January in 2020, just a little bit before the pandemic stuff started hitting. We had thought about going back in February, and we didn't because we were a little concerned about the COVID-19 stuff. It was early stages, but we thought, what if it is being passed around and, there's more occurrences of it than we thought at the time. And so we didn't go. And then by March, we had started into lockdown here in New Mexico. So it was interesting being back there. We had our family here from Wyoming, which never went into the kind of lockdown that we did here. They don't have the population and also very conservative state. So I won't say them anymore. But so they were commenting on stuff, saying, oh well, it looks like this hasn't been tended to. And it was very clear that they had just started to open things up again, and that the resort had sat pretty idle all this time. And it's interesting to me how when things sit idle, that there is just this degradation of them. And things were not bad. I mean, the rooms were very nice, but there were little misses. Like there were no Kleenex, no facial tissues in the room, and we didn't have a comforter. And so I had to ask for the comforter to be brought. I punted since I'd already asked for a comforter. I did not ask for Kleenex. We just used toilet paper because I didn't want to ask for too many things. They were wonderful and gracious and accommodating, but it was interesting watching them getting the outside cleaned up. Because David was like saying, sure, we're doing a lot of lawn maintenance, but it was rapidly becoming clear that this was the first big maintenance push. Um, and so, like, one day the fountain was not going, and the next day it was. So, and some things were still closed. The pool was closed. A couple of the restaurants were closed. They just reopened the golf course. We went golfing on the afternoon of release day, which was fun for me. For those of you who tuned in for the event at the Ripped Bodice, which was a very fun conversation between me and Jennifer Estep, and Chelsea Madoff from Ripped Bodice was very accommodating and lovely. Jennifer asked me how it's celebrated release day, and I said, I just never do. I don't know if that's a flaw or what. I always feel like I should be able to write on release day, because it's almost always a weekday. It's a writing day. And then I end up not getting writing done because there's just so many social media things to do. And I'm just distracted. I know I talk about this a lot, but release day is tiring. It's like I finally let go of that book and send it out into the world. So I know when I'm in the grape arbor, I'm always looking off because I'm looking off at the garden. So you can enjoy my profile a lot, which is not a glorious profile, but you're not here for the beauty, which is a good thing. Um, so it was interesting having a day where I just knew was going to be scattered anyway. The whole week has been scattered. They arrived on Sunday, and Monday morning we went out to breakfast, and then they all went out to the Buffalo Thunder Casino to play, and I was able to come home and do some stuff. Uh, Caught up on some stuff that I had to do for promo. Wrote that essay that appeared at Fantasy Cafe, so that was good that I got to do that. Um, got some things off my plate, and then in the afternoon we went and did a little bit of sightseeing, and then we went out to dinner. Hi, Ren. How are your babies? She's scolding me for being out here, so they must be all right. And then on Tuesday, uh, I don't even remember, or Monday afternoon, sorry, that was Sunday night we went out to dinner. See, my mind is blur. It's all a blank. After they came back from the casino, then we loaded up and we drove down to the Mountain Gods, which is about 3 hours. And I did most of the driving. David drove part of the way there, and then I took over, and then I drove all the way back yesterday. So, it's like that's what I'm contributing. So it was interesting spending the Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday at the resort, and going out to breakfast, and I had a mimosa with my breakfast, so that was a nice treat. Celebrate release day, and yeah, doing the golfing in the afternoon, and I drank some beers as we were golfing, and then did the couple things, online things I needed to do, including the ripped bodice deal. So yeah, I often talk about that I'm not good at taking time off, and so this week has been enforced time off. Uh, Today, the boys have gone golfing, and my sister-in-law wants to just hang out here this morning, work on her suntan some. So I'm going to try to get some writing done. I told Dorinda I'd be available. So I expect it to be creaky today. Um, I've got the sprinkler going because I haven't set up the drip system yet. Usually, sprinkler's not a very efficient way to water here in the desert, but it's still cool this morning, and it's a beautiful day, beautiful blue skies. And the hummingbird is flying through the sprinkler haze. It's really funny. Just hovering in the haze and getting sprinkled. Well, it's probably a good way to get a bath. The birds love it when I put the sprinkler on. Maybe I should do it some anyway, despite the drip system, even when I get it going, because they sure do have a party. Is that silly to put on a sprinkler just to please the birdies? Well, I do other things just to please the birdies, so I suppose not. Yeah, so it's one of those things where I loathe having my schedule disrupted, but sometimes I think it's good for me too. So it was funny because as we were driving, uh, my sister-in-law asked me if I was mentally working on my book, and she said she does that. She's a counselor and social worker, and she says she does that. She's driving back from places in Wyoming. She puts together her case notes in her mind and that sort of thing. And I said, yeah, I do that sometimes. Although I wasn't at that time. I said, because it's harder if there's a lot of conversation around me, which there was. And I just wasn't trying. I was really just letting it go. I was being zenalicious and not worrying about. I feel like that's kind of what I have to do. Is if I can't write for whatever reason, and by can't I mean not in the writer's blocky way, which you guys know I don't believe in, but because I'm being prevented by circumstances like that, then I just try to let it go so that I can rest my mind, and just not worry about not writing. And I should be okay still on Bright Familiar. I blocked out these days. I knew I was going to be probably not able to write. So um, we shall see how this morning goes. I know Dorinda is happy to have me back. Apparently, things went wretchedly in my absence. And she sent me my monthly payment yesterday, which is probably she usually sends it early, so that's it's not true. I wanted to say it's like a pointed reminder that I'm supposed to be there to help her. So, well, so yeah, I'm gonna get back into Bright Familiar, find out where the hell I was in that story, and I don't know what all. I mean, I've only talked for 10 minutes, and that's probably I'm out of the mode on this too. It's just how things go sometimes, right? It's we talk about getting back on the pillow. That there are extraordinary circumstances, and I know for like some of my friends, this is more of a mode of life, the continual interrupting and demands of family, uh, than mine. For me, it's easy to make this excursion because it is unusual, and it's making David very happy to have his brother here. And they're good guests. They've been great guests. But if I were around family, I would have to draw much firmer boundaries. I would not allow this kind of interruption because I mean it's amazing. I was sort of thinking about it, not entirely doing a great job of letting it go, but I was thinking, okay, so that's 9,000 words I did not write so far this week. Actually, I was counting it as 12,000 because I was thinking I wouldn't be able to until my sister-in-law was being very thoughtful and saying uh, that she thought that because I had offered to take her shopping this morning, and she's like, "Well, don't you need to work?" She said, "Because I can just hang out. I'll be very happy hanging out." And she was to hang out in the Grave Barber. She's still asleep, and so which is nice, and work on her tan and all of those kinds of things. And so I'd offered if we wanted to do a foursome and going golfing, and she said no. So I appreciate her sensitivity to my needing to work. I didn't tell you guys that the clematis over here that I wasn't sure had come back is not only back, but it's blooming, and the blossoms are very pretty. I might try to grab a photo of those. Yeah. So now I'm just back to rebuilding my schedule. Let's do earrings. These are, for those of you on video, they're kind of cool looking silver earrings that wind about, and they're an interesting idea, but they're kind of a pain in the ass. And I almost never wear them for that reason because and I'm trying to get it off. I might not even put it back on again after this if I can even get it off. So it's like one long strip of a silver band that gets gradually narrower and narrower till it comes down to a wire. Ah, there we go. And so it sort of spirals in and around itself. See, isn't that cool? I mean, it's a really neat idea, but as you can see, it took forever to get it off, and it takes forever to put it back on again. You have to put it in and like wind it around and around and around. And I thought it was a cool idea, but I know I got these at a garage sale. There was a time, it might have been the summer between my freshman and sophomore years of college. My mom and I spent a lot of time driving around and following garage sale signs and estate sales. She might have been on a mission. There, I took the other one off too. And you can see that, like, this one's more bent out of shape. But I remember buying these at a garage sale, and my mom said, "Oh, I should get them because they're probably real silver." Reader, they are not, because, or at least the wire part isn't, because they made my ears itch. Um, so I think I got them for like nothing. But I might get rid of them since I never wear them. And anything that's that hard to put on and take off, I don't know. It's the same reason I don't wear pantsuits. Well, there are multiple reasons I don't wear pantsuits, but one of them is the whole when you need to pee, it takes way too long to get out of them. I'm one of those peeing procrastinators. That's probably too much information. I apologize for that. But I just get involved in what I'm doing. It's sort of story of my life. My ability to concentrate serves me very well. I will get very involved in something and I totally lose track of time. And it's great for creativity. It's not so great for things like kidney health because I like procrastinate forever until I'm about ready to burst. So then I can't, there can't be anything in the way of that final um, run to the bathroom. So let's see. It ended up being a very fun release day. It was one of the um, best release days I think I've ever had, which is interesting, right? So, maybe that is the key to take the day off and kind of do this combination of just running back and forth to social media and then running out and doing fun things like golfing. Um, it's, I think I often mention that I just don't like release days. I think it feels like a lot of pressure. But for some reason, and also on this particular release day, maybe because it was the third book in the trilogy, people were saying really nice things and posting really nice reviews and just being generally congratulatory. And it was nice to revisit how many people actually love this series. And I loved hearing the how much people enjoyed the ultimate. I have to not put my foot on the table there because it bounces the screen around. Um, People loved the payoff. I loved the twists at the end, and so that was cool. And people said really neat things about how I had invented a new magic system or capitalized on classical themes, but and how I turned it into something that was feminine and mysterious and divine. And it's funny when people say things like that, and you're like, "Oh, I did? Did I do that? Cool." Um, yeah, so that was delightful. It made me super happy. So I think I'm going to go in, get this posted, and wish me luck on getting back into the groove. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. You all. Oh, I have to remind you, right? In case you forgot. How could you forget? First cup of coffee. Look, I'm all floral today. Look how beautiful. I did it just for you. First Cup of Coffee is part of the Frolic Media Podcast Network, and you will find more podcasts you love at frolic.media/podcasts. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.